honest Republican friends. Is that an oxymoron? Do they exist? Leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe. Hopkins Park, Illinois. Hey, Stephanie, what's up?
Hey, I talked to a local politician about why he was a Republican. Still, he's a black guy. He's a black guy, too, and I asked him why you're still a Republican after all what's going on. And he was, especially with the president lying. And he quoted to me that the president has to lie to get his policies done. I said, well, maybe he should have better policies. He says, no, our job as people is to follow the president. And even if he's wrong, and if he has to lie to get what he needs to get done, that we should just not question him, because every time you question the president, he can't do his job. And so I'm thinking, why would you want somebody not to tell you what they're going to do, to go behind your back and do something that's going to hurt you?
Right.
He said, well, the country is based on those people at the top with the education to do it. And if the people at the bottom get hurt, he said, then they have to find a way to pull themselves away from the hurt.
What you are
what
you are defining, Stephanie, are two cardinal characteristics of modern Republicans. Number one, an embrace of authoritarianism, and number two, an embrace of neocalvinism. The authoritarianism is, Daddy takes care of us. Daddy knows what's best. Daddy may even have to lie to us from time to time, but we all do what Daddy says. Right, that's George Lakoff says this is the authoritarian father model of a family, as opposed to the collaborative family model where everybody gets together and works out how things are going to be. Mom has a say, Dad has a say, the kids all have a say, which is more the Democratic Party. So you've got that authoritarianism. That's the first part of what he said, and then the neo-Calvinism. John Calvin back in the 1600s. Was during the early days of the Enlightenment, was trying to figure out how to justify basically kings continuing to be kings, and he came up with this theory that there were 5 parts to it, and the core theory is all humans are born in sin because we came out of a woman, and a woman was the original sinner. Number one. Number two, God determines even before we're born who's going to be saved. And so number three, the big challenge that we have as people is to figure out who are those people that God has said are going to be saved, and who are the people who God has already determined even before they're born are doomed. Because if we're going to put somebody in charge of our government, we want to make it one of the people, the good people, the saved people. And so number four, how do you know who the saved people are? Well, God's external manifestations of his blessing. In other words, they're wealthy, or they were born into the royal family. That was God's decision. And so number five, these actually aren't the 5 tenets of Calvinism, but this is kind of the logic that comes through it. The first 3 actually are from the 5 tenets of Calvinism. And so finally, therefore we should just kind of go along with what anybody says who is very wealthy or who is born into a royal family, because obviously that's the sign that God wants them to be in charge. And that has, the Republicans have embraced that without the God part and said, basically it's Darwinian, it's survival of the fittest, that being rich and powerful is proof that somebody is smart, or they have good genes, to quote Donald Trump. We all know that these are all lies, but these are the lies that Republicans live by.